Inflation is at an all-time high. The entire world right now is complaining of rising prices, increased cost of living. And the worst part of it is that the expectation is that it's actually going to get worse, probably before it gets better. So this is something that we are going to have to live with, and which is why I thought it is important for today's episode to make it really short and brief and give you 3 simple tips on how you can keep up with and probably even beat inflation. My name is Coach Susan. Welcome to another episode of Finance Friday. Very happy to have you here today. So what exactly is inflation? Inflation is just the rate at which prices of goods and services increase or go up at a given point in time, maybe in a year, okay? So take, for instance, currently the inflation rate in Kenya being maybe say 7%. That means that the expectation is that the prices of goods and services are going to increase by 7%. So think about everything you buy, everything you purchase, everything you pay for, inflate it by 7%. That's exactly how inflation works, and that's exactly how it would affect me and you as a consumer, okay? Now, inflation and time value of money are closely related. So what exactly is time value of money? Time value of money is a basic financial concept that stipulates that money in the present is worth more than that same amount in the future, okay? So I love giving this example of, if I gave you 1,000 bob 3 years ago and sent you, say, to Naivas supermarket or a Quick Mart to get some shopping for your house, and I gave you the same 1,000 bob right now, you most definitely would not come back home with the same number of items, because what 1,000 bob could do for you 3 years ago is not what 1,000 bob can do for you right now. And what 1,000 bob is doing for us right now, given what inflation is doing or how it's showing up, it's not what 1,000 bob will do for me 3 years from now, right? Which is why it is important for us to discuss inflation, how it affects me as a consumer, how it affects me as an investor, okay? Now, as consumers, we're already feeling it. Like the prices of everything. I mean, fuel is up, cooking oil. Literally, when you go shop for your house, what you used to get before vis-a-vis what you can get right now with the same amount of money, it's a total joke, right? But as investors, we are also seeing a scenario where like the return from our investment is not, we're not feeling like the effect of it in terms of, okay, I'm happy with this return. And that's also because of inflation, okay? Now, because we've understood what inflation is and how time value of money comes to play, I want to give you guys maybe 3 tips on how we can keep up with inflation and hopefully even beat inflation in the long run, okay? Now, the first thing I will tell you is that you need to have your savings earning you a return that is higher than that of the cost of living. That is the first way, and in fact, the most reliable way to actually beat inflation between, in the medium term to long term, because this isn't something that, these are not quick fixes that if you start doing this today, now, you're not going to feel the effects. We will be feeling the effects of inflation for a while. Okay, but this strategy that we are trying to use is to ensure that that doesn't affect our financial wellness, in the medium term to long term. And so why your money needs to be earning you a return is because I think I've given this example here before. If inflation is at 7% and you've put your money in a checking or a current bank account that gives you 0%, I mean, so prices went up. By the end of the year, prices probably will have gone up by 7%. But if majority of my money is seated and invested in a bank account that earns me 0 return, that means that, I'm literally at -7 because inflation grew by 7%, but my money grew by 0%. Take, for instance, your money is in a fixed deposit account or just a traditional savings account that gives you 4%, okay? Still, you might think that you're 4% richer, but ideally what's happening is that, inflation grew by 7%. My money grew by how much? 4%, right? So I'm still at a -3 in comparison to inflation and time value of money and what this money can do for me, which is why where your money is primarily being stored, like I'm not talking about money you're using this month or next month. I'm talking about where your savings are at, where your emergency fund is, where your sinking fund and your other investments are. You need to understand what is the rate of inflation in the country that you're in. So using Kenya, for example, where I am, it's at 7%. So in order for me to beat or keep up with inflation, I need to ensure that where my money is at or where my savings are at, they are earning me a return on the bare minimum 7, okay? So that if inflation is at 7% and my money grows by bare minimum of 7%, I've merely just been compensated for inflation. But the goal is to beat inflation, guys, right? So you want to ensure that you're getting higher than the 7%, maybe 9% in your money market funds, 10%, 11 in your treasury bills, treasury bonds, your equity funds, your bond funds. So you want to ensure that your savings are actually earning you a return that is higher than that of the cost of inflation. That's a sustainable way to ensure that you're not just keeping up, but you're also trying to do your best to actually beat inflation in the medium term to long term. I have a video that I've talked about like 7 investments that you can make. I'm going to link it in the description box below. So just go through it. You'll get a feel of what some of these investments are. Okay. The second tip of beating inflation, or how we can keep up with or beat inflation, is actually increasing your sources of income. Now, the prices, prices are going up, which means that I need to earn more. I mean, if the cost of living is increasing, then I need to ask myself, okay, I've saved and some of my money is earning me a return, but how can I actually manage in real time? Like, bills still need to be paid, children still need to go to school, we still need to eat and all that. Like, life goes on. There's nothing that's stopping for us in terms of, okay, inflation is happening now, this is stopping. No, life is going on. So on top of investing your money or ensuring that you're earning a good return that is higher than inflation, you want to ask yourself, how can I earn more money? Because in an economy where prices are increasing and the cost of living is increasing, one of the efficient ways you can deal with that situation is also increasing your sources of income. And you can do this in 3 ways. Number 1, diversify your skill set. This is something we cannot do without, right? I've been talking about this and I tell my clients and my friends all the time, if there is one thing you need to prioritize right now, it is actually to acquire demand-driven skills. The way we earn money has changed drastically. I mean, we still have some traditional careers that are giving us some good income, but right now there are a lot of demand-driven skills. Like when remote work started because of COVID, a lot of people are now taking advantage of the fact that you can work remotely to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs or just do some freelance work. Social media and digital is becoming a really big thing. How can you plug into that? Like, ask yourself, in my area of expertise or even outside of it, what are some of the demand-driven skills that I can start acquiring to make myself relevant and, approachable for different kinds of jobs? Because maybe you're not going to be able to earn more from your employer or from your business. Maybe you will need to pivot very quickly and adjust to what's happening in the market and acquire some of these demand-driven skills. There are a lot of courses online. I take a lot of courses on Udemy. I take a lot of courses on Coursera. I know we have some organizations like ALX Africa who are currently offering free courses on financial analysis, software engineering, virtual assistant. Just get these skills that would help you. When you're thinking, okay, I need to start a side hustle, you wouldn't give the fact that you do not have a skill set as the excuse as to why you've not done it, because you have made it a priority to acquire some demand-driven skills. All right. The second way you can increase your sources of income is to learn how to print money using your own ideas. Listen, guys, this is where the jackpot is at. I'll give you an example with myself. I have learned how to monetize what I do very well. As a trained economist and financial analyst, I could either do something like portfolio management, work in an investment firm like I used to, or even coach like what I do right now, creating free and paid content, some free and digital and paid digital courses and products. Like once you are able to solve an existing problem by creating a solution for it. There was a gap in terms of financial literacy, for instance, in the Kenyan market, and I've used my idea, my previous training, expertise, exposure to the market to package my product and services in a way that, you know, it's solving this existing problem of there being a gap in terms of financial literacy, right? Now, why this is amazing is because if you can, that's why I'm calling it learn how to print money using your ideas, because if you can learn how to package your different ideas and turn it into a product or a service that you can monetize, that is something that you can replicate and keep making money from. So you know, look at your skill set, your training, the things you do very well, compliments you keep getting from people who know you and they tell you, yo, you're really good at this, or I've noticed that you do this very well. Try see how you can monetize your hobbies, your passions, things that really make you tick. That's one of the avenues you can use to actually make more money. All right. The third one is actually negotiating for better pay, either at your current employment or even starting to source for better jobs. I had a poll previously on my Instagram, and I learned something new that I didn't know, and I was getting a lot of responses from people who are in HR, and they were saying how if you stay in a job longer than like 5 years, your earning potential pretty much decreases by close to half. So you want to keep like not just upskilling, but kind of like changing jobs every 3 to 5 years, just so that you can keep negotiating for better pay and better salary in your career, especially if you're the kind of people who is not doing like entrepreneurship or running a business and you're employed. You want to keep don't stay in one job for 9 years earning the same salary. You want to try your best to either negotiate for a better salary where you are at, and you must come with data. You don't just demand for better pay, you have to come with data, and that's one of the reasons why upskilling is important. That is one of the reasons why doing a really good job, like come with data, show your employer what you've been able to achieve in the past year or two and why you deserve that raise. If you work with employers who, regardless of what you do, they will not give you that raise, stay in the job, but actively and very aggressively apply for jobs in other places. And when you get there, when you do the interviews, negotiate for better pay. Okay, so that's the 3 ways you can actually try and see how you can increase your sources of income. Finally, rethink your spending habits. Times are tough, okay? And unless you are doing very well or you're not being affected by, inflation and increasing cost of living, you want to actually sit down and reevaluate where your money is going. Now is not the time to just take all your money and splurge in big holidays, big purchases. Like, because inflation is currently happening, it's crazy. This is the time that I would actually advise hoarding, not like hoarding the money and putting it in your house or in your bank, but you want to keep as much money as possible for the purpose of investing and multiplying that money, so that you can actually be able to keep up with and beat inflation. Okay, but you can't do that if you're still stuck living paycheck to paycheck. You want to evaluate, where exactly is my money going and how can I reduce this? So this past weekend, I've been running a poll on my Instagram. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, you're missing out on a lot of valuable conversation. Just follow me at Susan.Wanjiko, Susan.Wanjiko_. And today we are having an important conversation on my page where I was asking people, if you need to make an additional source of income, maybe say 10K a month, What are some of the ideas that you would actually implement? And I got such amazing responses, and people were telling me, I got a lady telling me how she took a job outside of Nairobi, just so that, I mean, and this has probably halved her spending, because like the rent she used to pay 40K in Nairobi, she's now paying half of that, 20K. And that includes like costs for food, transport, and all that. Other people are looking into freelance work, remote work, online writing, transcribing, farming, providing breakfast solutions, and so many other things that I'm seeing people doing. But even if you're making more money will actually not help you if all the money that you're making is actually being spent. So you need a budget. You guys know I'm a budget girl. I'll forever scream budgets, because they're an amazing tool to really just sort out your personal finance issues, okay? Because you must know where your money is going so that you can actually be able to make informed decisions as to where you want your money to go. So this is the time you want to cut down on unnecessary spending. There has never been a better time to slow down on big luxury purchases. There has never been a better time to slow down on, really ask yourself, like, if my salary was cut into half right now, or, worse, even less than that, what are some of the things that I would actually be sure that these things are going, okay? So you want to really prioritize having a needs list versus a wants list, and cut down as much as possible on the wants, so that you can maximize on how much of your money is actually going to invest in. If you can do these three things, have your savings earning a higher interest than the cost of inflation, think of avenues of increasing your source of income, minimize on unnecessary spending as much as possible, I believe you will have a fighting chance, okay, during this so-called recession that we are currently going through. And it's not just in Kenya, it's not just in Africa, it is a global thing. So you want to keep your head down, just try as much as possible, do these three things or any other tips that you may have, and because the whole point is, we are hibernating, guys. Keep your head down. We are just trying to get through this season. Okay, so in case you have any other strategies and tips that you're using to stay ahead of inflation or keep up with inflation, please drop them down in the comment section below. I really look forward to hearing how you guys are getting by, how are you surviving, how are you making more money, how are you actually keeping up. If you have any questions for me, also leave them down in the description box, in the comment section down below, and I'm going to get to them and answer them. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like this video, subscribe so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Finance Friday.